that's super duper commendable. Like I said, for me, they would have just had to beat me up. I'm not about to join no gang. I'm definitely not about to join no gang, messing around with these degenerates. But that's me. I know that's not everybody's choice. I would have definitely went and got my little brother though. I would have definitely got him out of there. But I would try to find some other way. Can I pay y'all or something? Can we set up a payment plan? Are you gonna extort me? How about y'all just bet on the games? Y'all know we never lose. You already made money off. I'm just saying, there's so many other options he could have went.
Woke up this morning, been in that shine, whole team got the glow, you can see it in the stride, got me feeling brand new, feeling brand new, got me feeling brand new, feeling brand new, yeah.
What up, YouTube? It's your boy JusRzd, and welcome to another edition of Rage Reviews. Today, we are reviewing the latest 3 episodes of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And this was going to be a little bit different. Normally, I'll recap the episode and what happened and then get my thoughts on it. But considering they dropped 3 whole episodes, I ain't doing all that. I'm not going to recap it, but we're going to talk about what transpired in these three episodes, man. It was sad, yet dope character development. We see Peter Parker can't keep a secret to save his life, inadvertently. But yeah, man, it was just kind of sad, man, seeing Lonnie Lincoln go through what he went through in those 3 episodes. Was kind of sad. Felt bad. Couldn't be me in that situation. They would have just had to beat me up. I'm just like they would have just had to beat me up at that point. I would have came through to rescue my little brother, and they would have just had to beat me up. Like I'm not about to join y'all. Like So speaking on the fact of we have Lonnie Lincoln's storyline in the 3 episodes. We see him get a disturbing phone call while he was at school dealing with his brother. He was super excited that him and Peter aced their project. He was like, yo, we're going to keep acing it. And you kind of see the struggles begin. He was like, Peter, I'm going to buy you lunch. He buys Peter lunch. He goes to buy his own lunch. His credit card gets declined. And so he's just like, all right, well, I'll just take the apple. So he doesn't even eat like a real lunch. Gets a disturbing phone call from his mom. Asks his girl Paula to take him home. Once she takes him home, we see he finds out the whole story from his mom about what transpired. His little brother got brought home by the police. He goes up there to kind of scold and reprimand his little brother. Window open, little brother not there. Of course he ran away. So then he ends up finding out where his little brother's at. He finds him at the 110th, I believe it's the 110th Street gang. And he just kind of sees his little brother in there. He comes to pull him out, and the head of the 110th is somebody named Donovan. They call him Big Donovan. And yeah, pretty much see that he's not willing to let go of his little brother without some sort of exchange or price or something. Like, you can't just come up here and take one of my members, my family. But we see Lonnie kind of make the decision like, look, my life for my brothers, and he pledges his allegiance to the 110th and allows his brother to escape. And then we just see for the rest of the 3 episodes, we just see Donovan just pretty much toying with Lonnie the entire time. Like, he's in there trying to do homework at one point in time. He calls him as soon as school lets out, like, yo, you need to get to the hideout, to the headquarters as soon as possible. So he gets there and he's trying to do his homework. He's like, hey man, there ain't no study hall in here, and just starts being a jerk for no reason. Like, for no reason. Like, this brother's not. He only did this to free his little brother. He's not here to really be about that life. And Donovan kind of schools him on certain situations. He kind of sets him up and introduces him to Scorpion's gang. And we see that Matt Gargan is the head of a gang that's kind of infringing on their territory. and that kind of comes to a head in the final episode of the episode 5 of episode 3, 4, and 5, and we see a big gang fight go down between the 1/10th and Scorpion's gang, and we see Matt Gargan was going to actually take out Big Donovan, and we see Lonnie kind of tackles him and pretty much saves Big Donovan's life, and by doing so, after everything settles, he ends up getting stabbed in the process, but by doing so, by saving Big Donovan dons him the nickname. They said, well, we should call you the Grave Digger the way you put him down, and he was like, nah, we're not gonna call him Grave Digger, we're gonna call him Tombstone. And that's when everything clicked for me, because I'm like, Lonnie Lincoln sounds familiar. That name sounds familiar. It sounds very comic booky. The alliteration, Lonnie Lincoln, like, it just sounds very Peter Parker. Like, it sounds very comic booky. And I'm like, he has to be important if they're using him in this capacity. Then, lo and behold, Lonnie Lincoln is Tombstone in the Spider-Man comics. And so, it's going to be interesting. Tombstone is one of Spider-Man's rogues gallery. It's going to be interesting to see how they pull off his transition. We can already see them laying the groundwork as far as his story is concerned, and the hardship and the different... I kind of like how they're giving this juxtaposition between Peter's life and how everything is kind of like excelling and increasing in his life, and he's not sure which decision he's going to make and how he's going to go about it. But then how they're doing Lonnie and just showing how stuff is just going wrong. Even though they're both smart kids, they're both super athletic, even though nobody knows that Peter's super athletic. They're both very gifted. They're intelligent. He's a star football player. Peter's working at Oscorp. So it's just like they both have good things going for them, but the way their circumstances and surroundings are different, it's affecting their lives differently. And so I think that's a great point that they're trying to nail home, and I feel like they're doing a good job. I just, like I said, I was really interested to see how the story was going to develop between the different characters that they introduced, and so far they've done a really good job. Like episode 3, 4, and 5, they've done a really good job of like threading the needle storyline wise, and just really showing the character development and showing the different things that the characters have going for them, showing the similarities, but also showing the differences in the circumstances and surroundings of each individual character, and how those circumstances and surroundings can also affect your trajectory when it comes to different things going on. We see he's missing practice. We see Lonnie's missing practice to follow orders for the 1/10th. And he's just like, yo, if I keep missing practice, they're gonna kick me off the team. And Donovan's like, that ain't my problem. And it's just like, bro, but you knew he was the star football player. Like, certain stuff that kind of, I don't know, that bothered me a little bit. But that bothered me a little bit, because in certain hoods, I mean, when in certain hoods, when we have different crime bosses, sometimes they look out for their community, especially if their goal is to look out for their community. And he even said to Lonnie in one of the episodes, like, yo, you wouldn't even be able to make it from school to your home without the 1/10th, like, keeping the Scorpions at bay. And he was just like, it was just like, oh, well, I never thought about it like that. And that kind of made him buy in a little bit, or at least like back down from his positioning at that time, at the point he was trying to make. Because Donovan tried to set him up and send him into enemy territory to go get an order, and he almost got jumped. He almost got beat up, but he was able to make it up out of there and make it on the train in time, and was able to pretty much dodge a butt whooping. And yeah, it's just kind of sad to see Lonnie go through this, man. Just knowing the outcome and just seeing how such a good kid is gonna end up becoming a villain, kind of. And but one thing I will say is, even in certain comic book runs, Tombstone isn't as bad as he seems. So he said that Heart of Gold still kind of shines through some in certain comic book runs, not all of them. Like even in the Spider-Man 2 video game, we see Tombstone help out. Was it Spider-Man 2 or Miles Morales? It was one of them. We saw Tombstone kind of help out in one of those games. He even helped Peter Parker in them. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. On the Peter Parker side of the storyline for the 3 episodes, we kind of see him just weighing his options. He finds out, of course, that Norman pretty much now knows that he's Spider-Man, and it makes him uneasy. He's like, man, he's just like, man, I thought about it. I thought about what we talked about, and it's just like, Norman was so hyped and he was so interested. He was just like, yo, I just want to be on the team. I want to help you out. I want to make sure that you're good and well taken care of. You saved my son's life twice. And explained to him that the kid he saved twice was actually his son, Harry. And just like, yo, I just want to be on the Spider-Man team, and I want to help you with your equipment, upgrading your stuff and your web shooters and your costume and this, that, and the third. And Peter's just kind of conflicted because he's just like, man, nah, I kind of got to carry this weight and this load by myself. And and Norman's like, well, I understand your position. I understand where you're coming from. So think it over. We could rendezvous at another point. And he talks to Nico about it. He talks to, not that he's Spider-Man, but he talks to Nico about giving up the internship. But then he kind of goes home and sees that Aunt May is contemplating selling some of Ben's stuff, and they're behind on bills and stuff like that. So Peter's like, dang, because Norman paid him for pretty much his day of work. He gave him $1,000 check, and he's just like, man, I could kind of help out my aunt if I stay on in this internship. And Nico's like, yo, but you know, if May knows that you're staying there only to help her out financially, she'd tell you to quit. He's like, yeah, I know. But we see him just kind of struggle with the weight of life and responsibility, and just him kind of wanting to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and carry that weight on his own. And we all know the famous Uncle Ben quote, with great power comes great responsibility. And we see, like, in these 3 episodes of him just kind of shouldering that responsibility on his own and just kind of making it his own ordeal. But he eventually caves, and continues the internship, and can actually allows Norman Osborn to help him. So they go through a bunch of different suit designs, and of course those are Easter eggs to different designs that Peter wore in the comics. And it shows pretty much flaws in each and every design until he gets to the final one, which is the all-white suit with the blue highlights on the middle and the sides, with little hints of red here and there. So I'm interested to see if that suit is going to be his main suit and they're just going to color it red. He even talked to Harry about it, because he when he had the suit on and was taking it on his first test run, he ends up coming back to Oscorp. Norman had to actually go out and run an errand, and he came back to Oscorp thinking everything was in the clear. Comes in through the window, takes off his mask, and lo and behold, Harry Osborn sitting there, and he's like, oh my god, you are Spider-Man. And so of course Harry finds that out, and Peter's just like, no, I'm not. And it's just like, bro, you just took the mask off and came in through the window, of course you're Spider-Man. And so he eventually confesses, and Harry, Norman, and Peter kind of all have a meeting and discussion, and Harry is pretty much is now promoted to like his dude at the desk. Instead of the man in the chair, he's the dude at the desk. So when Norman's not available, Harry's going to be there to assist him. And so him and Harry just kind of talk about it. They both kind of fanboy over Captain America. And so Spider-Man's like, yo, I kind of want more red in the suit like Captain America. And they're like, oh my god, you like Captain America too? Oh, I do too. It was cute. But to see the team kind of grow, I'm interested to see how this dynamic is going to unfold, knowing who Norman Osborn eventually becomes. And just seeing how that relationship is going to affect Harry, how that relationship is going to affect Peter, and just seeing the different dynamics, even with Dr. Connors, seeing her dynamic as well with Peter, and just seeing the different interns that are still working there, Amadeus Cho, the Wakandan intern, and the other young lady, and just seeing if they're going to even touch or develop on their stories, because For those who don't know, spoiler alert, Amadeus Cho becomes a version of the Hulk eventually. And I believe the Wakandan in turn also becomes somebody with powers. And I believe the other lady does too. So it's interesting. All of them end up becoming heroes. So I'm interested to see how that develops. And the person who's over pretty much the internship, that old cranky old man, he actually ends up becoming a villain eventually. So it's going to be interesting to see how all these different stories develop. Right now, I believe Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man has been renewed for 3 seasons. So we already know we're getting a season 2. We know we're getting up to a season 3. So I'm interested to see. So far, so good as far as character development and the story and the plot line. So I'm interested to see how they develop this as a whole, with the different characters and the different relationships between each of the characters. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Animation aside, because the animation still looks wonky in certain spots. But I heard news that they were originally intending it for it to be a 2D animated situation. But halfway through it, they had some budgetary issues, so they had to switch to 3D. Because 3D animation was cheaper, so it's kind of like it's like an amalgamate. And then they ended up going a whole new direction with the series, because at first it was going to be Spider-Man Freshman Year, which was going to be like an animated version of Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU's origins. And they decided like halfway through development that we're actually going to make this a whole multiverse thing, because it doesn't limit us character-wise, stories we want to tell, different relationships we want to pursue, as far as the different characters we can use and stuff like that, and different stories we can tell. And so I get it. So the animation's still a little wonky to me, but the story that they're telling is very compelling and interesting to me. So definitely could watch this with your kids. Definitely could watch this in your free time if you're into animated tellings. Like I said before, when I did my trailer reaction as well as my first review for the first 2 episodes, like, most Spider-Man animated journeys are good. Like, they end up being good. No matter how many people complain about the animation, the stories that they usually tell usually end up being good, except for Spider-Man Unlimited. But that's neither here nor there. Bow. Shots fired. But yeah, man, it's just I really enjoyed the way they develop these stories in this particular episode. I'm excited to see where it goes from these different episodes. We also got to see different villains. We got to see the Unicorn. We got to see a younger, more entrepreneurial Doc Ock. And we see that he's the one who's peddling these cybernetic upgrades and technology to these criminals. We saw a speedster with souped up legs. We saw another lady. She had like these gauntlets around her hands that blades could come out. And Spider-Man dispatched them pretty quickly. And and we see the Unicorn, and possibly who I believe is probably Rhino as well, but he didn't have any equipment yet. He just went to jail, got broke out of jail, and then went back to jail and kind of saved Spider-Man's life in the process. So, super dope. Episode 3, 4, and 5 I thoroughly enjoyed. Thoroughly thought they were dope. Let me know in the comments below if you have, if you've seen it, what plot threads you want to see explored and expressed as far as in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. They've already been renewed for 3 seasons, so we know we're at least getting 3. Same thing with X-Men 97. I believe we know we're at least getting 3 right now. Like, they've been renewed, I believe, for 3 seasons so far. But yeah, I'm interested to see how they go about it, how they develop these stories and these characters, who else they introduce. I'm also interested to see if they're going to give Nico magical powers like she has in Runaways. Because she is from the Runaways. I don't know if you've seen the series The Runaways that used to be on Hulu around the time Daredevil and Punisher and the Defenders were on Netflix. They had a show on Hulu called The Runaways about these group of kids who some had special abilities, some didn't, Nico was actually from the Runaways, and she had magical, mystical abilities. And so I'm interested to see if they're going to explore that at all in this particular show, especially with starting out the season in episode 1 with a fight between Doctor Strange and some mystical creature. So I'm interested to see, like I said, how this develops. I'm interested to see if Rhino is going to actually get some upgrades and be the beast of a villain that he is. I'm interested to see that. I'm interested to see if they introduce Venom and the Lizard in this particular series. We already see Otto Octavius. I'm interested to see how he goes about getting his arms. I'm just tapped in at this point. I'm really tapped in. I don't like the animation, but I'm loving the storytelling. So for me, I'll probably give these set of episodes, episode 3, 4, and 5, I'm gonna give it honestly, I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I really enjoyed the storytelling. I really enjoyed how they put the stuff together, how they're stringing along the different plot lines and plot threads, and how they're showing the character development, the different choices that each character makes. Shout out to Paula being being Peter's crush, even though she used to be his babysitter. And shout out to Lonnie Leakin doing everything he can to make sure his family's good. Like that's commendable, at least. To say the least, that's super duper commendable. Like I said, for me, they would have just had to beat me up. I'm not about to join no gang. I'm definitely not about to join no gang messing around with these degenerates. But that's me. I know that's not everybody's choice. I would have definitely went and got my little brother though. I would have definitely got him out of there. But I would have tried to find some other way. Can I pay y'all or something? Can we set up a payment plan? Are you gonna extort me? How about y'all just bet on the games? Y'all know we never lose. You already made money off. I'm just saying, there's so many other options he could have went. You know what I mean? There's so many other options he could have went. But that's neither here nor there. It's commendable. He's trying to keep his family intact. But don't forget to comment below if you're enjoying this series so far. What other plot threads you want to see tapped into in future episodes or future seasons. And let's go ahead and stay tapped in. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that way you can be notified anytime we drop a new video on the channel, which is every day. Let's get it. Stay tapped in, stay tuned in, stay locked in. Never forget, it's FreeSoul to the soul free. Let's get it.